6:30 p.m. This is the reorganization of the Select Board for the Town of Westminster. At this time, I would accept nominations for the chair.
I move, I nominate Sheldon Beebe.
I'll second.
I second. Oh.
Do I have anything to say?
No.
I just thought maybe people would smile.
Hearing no other nominations, those in favor of having Sheldon Beebe continued being the chair for the fiscal year starting right now, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Sheldon, I'll pass the meeting to you.
Cool. At this time, thank you, ladies and gentlemen. At this time, we'll elect a vice chair, item D. I will take nominations.
I move we nominate, I nominate Craig Allen for vice chair.
Second.
Any other nominations for vice chair? I have a motion that's been seconded to nominate Craig Allen for vice chair. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
I'm sorry.
Those opposed? Craig Allen is our vice chair for this coming year. This time we need to order. At this time we need to elect a clerk.
I nominate Susan Harlow.
I'll second. Any other nominations? I have a motion that's been made and seconded to nominate Sue Harlow for clerk. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? And Susan.
Come on in.
Right?
Oh, it's like,
You didn't want to get appointed to something while you were going.
and so Sue Harlow is our clerk. Welcome, Mr. Hughes.
Thank you.
Are there any adjustments? Well, I'll let you get settled from that.
I apologize.
Not a problem.
How you doing, Stephen?
I'm all right. How
Did you have a nice trip?
I did.
Yeah, good. Where'd you go?
We were in Portugal.
Oh, I
We had another pass.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Well, she sent us on the trip. You know.
Oh,
She wanted us to go. She knew she was.
Are there any adjustments to the agenda?
I have none.
Hearing none. Motion to accept the minutes of February 28th, 2018.
I'll move that we approve the minutes as printed.
I second.
Motion's been moved and seconded to accept the minutes of February 28th as printed. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Okay, communications and public comments. Yes, Katie.
Hello. So I wanted to just come tonight. I feel like I, attended town meeting and there was a little bit of dialogue that I was hoping to have at town meeting and felt like I wasn't getting a response to some of the questions I had, which was fine. But it also is kind of paired with one of the members of the select board approached me at the end of the meeting and we had a brief dialogue and it just got my mind moving in another direction. And so it formed more questions, I guess, ultimately. And so I wanted to take a little bit of time to ask about the treasurer's position. The budgeted amount for that particular position is $5,000, which I certainly don't expect that our current treasurer is going to fulfill the role for that amount of money. In the brief dialogue I had with one of the members, it became apparent to me that there had been maybe some dialogue about the assistant positions and whether those were going to be necessary or not. And then it brought me back to town meeting when I asked the question about that budgeted line item, it was kind of assured to us that it would be within that 185,000 or whatever that figure was. So then my wheels are just turning, kind of wondering what direction the board is going in. I've been interacting quite a bit with the folks in this building. I don't know if you know that, just because of my professional role, and feel like I don't want to see anything happen to the staff that's here. And there's some piece of me that thinks that that may be a direction this board's going in. So I wanted to step up today to say that I'd, like some dialogue behind that.
What kind of stuff are you referring to? So you threw it out there.
That there'd be an eliminated position within this building for the assistant clerk. And that was kind of the dialogue, that salaries would be adjusted in one way or another. And that's the conversation that I'm wondering. That budgeted line item for the treasurer, I feel needs to be a larger dollar amount. And if you're going to stay within the budgeted amount that you've just had, then I'm trying to figure out where the other monies are coming from.
So the line item, the budgeted treasurer position has been that amount for an extended period of time.
Yeah, and I understand it was a unique situation where the clerk was also the treasurer, but we know that that's not the way things are any longer. So I think it's fair for me to ask, what is that number going to do? And quite honestly, I just don't understand why that wasn't thought about or discussed prior to town meeting. I understand you did your budgeting prior to not knowing that our current treasurer was going to not run, but I think there was plenty of time in my wheels.
Back up there again.
You did budgeting prior to knowing that Ally wasn't going to rerun. That was, Susan, I think you told me that.
Right.
And so I guess I think that if I were sitting in your seat, which someday I honestly hope that I have the time to be able to do that, I would certainly be considering, wait a second here, how are we going to compensate our new treasurer fairly? I don't know how many hours that person needs to work or not work, but in my eyes, I certainly know it's going to be more than $5,000.
I think you're asking a very good question, and I think the degree that, I am on the board, and so I could just tell you, we understood, it was late when we found out that this was, and I'm not defending this, I'm just trying to tell you just part of what would happen. And then, we knew that you were interested in it, were running, and I don't know what your expectations were, so, and I don't know how, because we didn't hire you, you decided to run.
Exactly.
And so,
Well, you're elected, so. Right.
and you were elected, right? And so, I think there was a brief discussion about, the amount of time that would be put into it. It would not be, and we know it's not a full-time job, so.
Absolutely.
So I think that was probably where the conversation ended at that point on that subject. But I don't know, do you all have any other memories of this?
I think and I'm not sure, we were going to look back and see how many hours when there was a separate treasurer. Were we going to see that?
We were looking at that, and we were.
So we'd be able to get those,
Yep.
to get some idea.
Mm-hmm.
How many years ago was that?
They were
1999.
talking about what?
A separate treasurer.
When there was a separate
That
treasurer,
was-
so we were kind of
But it
gauge
wasn't-
what would that take.
Cynthia was the last.
Yeah, but it wasn't that
separate
long ago,
treasurer.
because when Doreen was here, she actually had substantial amount more money in treasurer. She came to us and said, I got two positions. And one, unfortunately, if somebody runs against me, there's not enough money sometimes for both to have a treasurer and a clerk. So why don't I take most of the same amount I'm getting for doing both, but I'll switch it to mostly the clerk's position and leave a little bit. Yes.
She was finance officer, paid $12,000 a year as finance officer, $5,000 a year for treasurer to equal $17,000 as the treasurer. And then she was paid a separate line item for the clerk. And the other thing that is really, that this has been brought to my attention is that Patty is my assistant, is she not? As clerk assistant? And to hear what Katie just said, really is, I don't understand why that conversation wasn't brought to my attention, that you were considering cutting my assistant's hours or cutting my assistant altogether, if that's a fact.
We don't have the right to do that.
Right.
You have a right to put so much money in your department. That's your choice to do what you do in each department. And what I originally said, we had outside service we were contracting to come in to do some of the treasury work. We would have to look at the total amount of money we were spending and try to realign it. We've been doing that every year.
An outside source to do the treasure work? No, it's to balance the books per the auditor's request when Doreen was here. They don't do anything except audit and balance our checkbooks every month.
Right.
To the tune of 4 hours a month. And when we pay that bill, that gives us, we can call them 24/7, the 800 number, if we have an issue, because that's part of our contract. On my side of the office.
Right, and like I said, we have no right to go in and tell you what you're gonna pay or not pay. We only have the right to say, okay, how much is in that department to run that department? Because we don't hire, either one of you is not gonna hire you. You come in, you're elected, and we have no jurisdiction over how you run that department. Same with her.
Okay, so where did this conversation come from?
I said the select board always has a right to move numbers around. That is our right. We've been doing it since I've been here. Every year we go, okay, now we need so much money for the listers department. We needed so much over there. We have to sit down and find out, but this is new to us because now there's another elected position. They gotta come in and sit down with us. We can't tell her what to do. She has to come in and tell us what she wants to do, and we have to figure it out. So it's all we can do.
Then I guess I very much misinterpreted a conversation I had. In a conversation that I had, it was said that Ally has always done the clerk and the treasurer's position.
Right.
Now that she's not doing the treasurer's position, okay, she's not doing all of the work that she did before. Is there a need for an assistant's position? And I felt like the dialogue that was had was gearing towards that not being the case here. And maybe I misread it, and for that I apologize. But I'm saying I feel like there's going to be some moving pieces because Ally is getting compensated a certain amount of money to do the clerk work. She had been given the same amount of money to do the treasurer's and the clerk work.
No, there's a separate.
Well, the $5,000, okay, but let's really, the $5,000, that's saying that there's $5,000 is enough to do that work. I don't think that's fair for us to say. Is that agreed?
No,
For her to come in?
In the confusion, you also had Patty who says, I'm no longer gonna be the assistant treasurer, which was another $2,000 or $3,000. We really can't accept that because she really doesn't work for us. She works for Ally. But she did come and say there's that much money. Where does that leave the board? I don't know, because technically that's Ally's money still, right?
Mm-hmm.
But she
My
actually
budget.
came to us and said, I'm no longer want to be the assistant treasurer. We had money in there to be assistant treasurer.
So I no longer get that money.
Well, no, you really can. That's up to Ally.
No, because I'm not
No,
an assistant
well,
treasurer.
She's not the assistant treasurer, so it's not right to
so
give her.
that
That's
would
true.
be-
Yeah, you're right. It's in that
No,
budget.
it's
Yeah,
not.
you're right.
No.
Okay,
I don't get that.
you're right.
So
But
does that make it $8,000 then?
technically, yeah, it's 7,000.
7 something.
Seven.
That's the money that was there for the
Right.
assistant.
Yeah, but some of it has been used already,
half the
'cause we've
year.
done-
Yeah.
Yeah, but no,
Yeah.
it's about 7, a little over 7.
Yeah, I honestly, like, the more I think about this, the more questions that I have.
Well, we're gonna have.
To be honest with you,
We're gonna
and I
have
just,
to talk
you know,
with-
I just feel like this is kind of a big deal. Our
So this-
treasurer is standing alone now. And, you know, I'm so grateful that Jackie put her name on that ballot and that she's here, because otherwise, I'm not sure what happens, but I feel like we need to treat this situation very fairly for everyone involved, because we have somebody who works in this building who no longer wants to do the treasurer duties, and I'm not sure why, and quite honestly, I'm not going to even try to figure out why, but I would like to see everyone be able to figure this out in a way that everyone feels good about it. And
We need
the
to do that.
yeah, the conversation, I just, you know, at town meeting and then a conversation, I felt like you have this pot of money, and just very simply, you have this pot of money, and you need to pay all of these people, but yet there's a new person. And really, there's not enough money in the little pot for the new person. So where's the money going to come from? And I just wish that we'd been able to have a real conversation about that at town meeting, I guess, is really what I'm saying. And maybe it's a bigger deal to me than it was to the board that this new position just came up. But I feel like it's kind of a big change for us.
I think we plan to deal with it.
Yeah.
We're grateful that Jackie ran. And it seems like it makes sense in the office to, so we will work with it,
Thank you. I'm sorry to take up so much
That's
public
okay.
comment,
Thank
but
you.
I feel like, I wanted to advocate for the situation.
And we're still working on the, yes, sir.
The next public comment when you're ready.
Oh, you're working on the policy for reserves. I did do a little research, so if you want to try to track me down, some other towns, what they're doing percentage-wise. You're welcome to do that, because I did do a little bit of digging to just, have a sense of what is realistic for a town. As there are different measurements that you can use, percentage, or you can look at kind of what your expenses are on a monthly basis and come up that way. Anyway, I gotta go get kids at basketball. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye, Kate.
Yes, sir.
I'm here before you because you've been kind enough to let me represent Westminster for the WRC for the last 2 years, and I wanted to answer any questions you may have about what the heck I've been doing there. And I know the nominations for this year are coming up at the end of the month, and I would like to serve again. I heard that Norm Wright is not serving again, but Bobby Kilburn is being considered, and I would also just put a word in. I think she'd be a great representative for us. I serve on the energy committees and the community development committee, so we've been overseeing the regional energy plan and the development of that, as well as administering a large grant for renewable energy production in the area. So as part of my job trying to represent Westminster, I've tried to pull in Westminster residents to that grant opportunity and make that known to them. The two people I've been most successful in doing that for are Tatiana Schreiber, who is now partnered with SIT World Learning and is experimenting with how to grow agriculture underneath in the shaded areas underneath solar cells using their solar array. So she has money going to her to pay for that, and it's part of what convinced WRC to give money to the whole project. And we also tried to pair her together with Dan Crocker was it Hidden Springs Maple? No, sorry, no. I'm not going to remember his name of his maple operation, but Dan Crocker.
Southland.
Sidelands, yes.
Right.
And I encouraged him to submit an application. He considered putting one together with Tatiana in the same way, but didn't.
For solar?
For a solar array on his maple production.
You would talk to us about it, yeah.
Yeah, he would have gotten a letter of support from you guys to do it.
You should, that's right, I remember that.
And the WRC did offer him money, but it was not
You should
enough.
go visit his place.
I'm his neighbor, so I do.
It's amazing.
Oh, it's
really, yeah.
wonderful, yeah. So anyways, that is the Energy Committee, Community Development. We've been looking at how to draw more attention to the area. So I've been working with a guy named Ralph Mima. He used to be the Marlborough Business Schools director, and he used to live in Sweden, and he wants to form a partnership between a Swedish community and Windham County. And so we're talking to Hasselholm, Sweden. It's kind of like dating profiles for communities. You say what you like, you long walks on the beach, and so we're building stuff there. But it's always slow and steady with the regional work. So I'm here just to answer any questions you have beyond that.
So great to have somebody enthusiastic about it.
I have too much time on my hands to sit in boring meetings like this. Sorry.
So are you enjoying have you enjoyed the work that you've done so far?
It's very interesting to see the way human scale democracy can work, and I believe only in Vermont does it happen this way, so I'm proud to be involved.
Good.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You have Marion Major, who lives in Westminster West.
Yes, we get coffee regular. She actually is the staff person for the Energy Committee, so I'm very, very much in touch with her. Yeah.
Good. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Any other communications and public comments? Hearing none. Finished business. Town meeting discussion, if any.
put that on there just so that if you had any questions about what,
Well, I thought you did a very good job of providing all the information that was necessary.
thank you.
There was a couple, there was a couple questions that were brought up that were actually good questions. Can't remember what they were now. But we had, well, one of them was the woman that didn't know anything about.
Prudential Committee. That one? She goes, what is the Prudential Committee? Is that the lady?
No, I was thinking it was one about town, that she didn't know anything about where a town meeting was gonna be,
Oh.
and anything.
Oh,
leading
this
up
is,
to it.
One lady
I
said,
agree with that, because
You
next
said
year,
there
and
was
I put it
nothing
on,
posted.
yeah,
what was
because
her name?
we didn't have anything
Eileen
on the
Deutsch.
website, and we
Yeah.
didn't have anything in
There
the
was
Gazette.
nothing.
I don't know what
It
that
was on the website.
It was on the website, it
Was in the
was
Gazette.
in the Gazette, but it wasn't in February, it was in January.
Yeah.
The website was 2 clicks, 2
Yeah,
clicks away.
it should be right on the homepage.
It was when I went on.
We
Well,
did,
it's
we
'cause
moved it
Yeah, I
yeah,
asked Russ to
okay.
do
Moved it.
that,
to it, but
anyway, I just made a note that next year, I'll try and get on it quicker and.
Because there
make
shouldn't be,
sure we have-
we really shouldn't have anybody in town that doesn't know,
Where to go?
or to be able to ask us that question and us not be able to say, well, yeah, we've got it here, there, here, there, here, there, here, there, but she still didn't have the information.
Right.
And so,
But again, it was all posted on the
It
boards
was-
for months.
yep, it
They
was
had the
posted.
ballot out there for at least 2 months.
But maybe since the shopper is our official paper, we should have it in the shopper as well.
I mean, even, we could work at getting some press release out too. I'll just make a note
Or a
and bring it
mail.
up in
Or a
December.
townwide mailing or
Yeah.
something, I mean, yeah,
Then someone said to me, well, everybody knows it's the first Saturday.
No, I don't.
No, they don't.
Oh, it was the date.
it used to be
that
the
she
first
didn't know.
Tuesday
She
for
knew where
a
it
million
was.
years, so.
Yeah, so
Well,
I mean,
that
I
still
feel
is for
legitimate.
voting.
Yeah, but
And all the
town
other
meeting
towns
used to
have
be,
their
Yeah.
Well, we had
Yeah,
Monday night.
I just, we can do a
Monday
better,
and Tuesday.
better job
Yeah,
of
yeah.
just,
And people were
I'll
complaining
try
about it
to,
being
I
so
made a
late.
note to get on it.
Tuesday night, actually.
Remind people.
No, you can't have it Tuesday night. You had it Monday night.
Because that was the problem, is you didn't have your new board, that was some of the problems, you didn't have your
Well,
new
you're
board
going back a
members.
long ways though. You're going back a long ways.
I've been
When
going
I
to
was
town
on the
meeting for a
board, we
long
were doing
time.
Monday
Stop
nights.
mumbling now that ends.
Yeah.
Yeah, whatever, okay.
In your packet, you also have the reserve fund balance policy. If you're interested in pursuing that, I created one that would be more Westminster instead of the one that I gave you as a model. I don't expect an answer tonight, but
We-
it's in
We
your
have our
packet to
new,
look
we
at.
have to have our new board member get into the,
Mm-hmm.
so I wanna give them time to,
Well, this is the first we're seeing of it too, so.
Well, you saw the model.
you see, it's not,
This one is
this one's specific to the
based
town.
on that,
Right.
but it's more for Westminster.
Then we gotta decide what
Yeah, it's important.
You're welcome.
I think we spent some time on this one.
Anything else under town meeting? So we've got that to pursue. Everybody reserve the balance, look it over. Positives, negatives. Yeah, we gotta make a decision on it right off, but we should decide what we're gonna do with it. Anything else on town meeting? Other than that, I thought it went well. Fairly well. We didn't get yelled at too bad, so that wasn't good, wasn't a bad thing. Moving on, sale of land on Heights Road, update.
Just to get everybody on board, I was asked to lock the gate because there hadn't been any movement on Roger Farnsworth's part to buy that piece of land that he was supposed to do last fall. So I locked the gate, and of course he noticed it right away and contacted a couple of the board members, and so we waited probably 2 weeks, and then I unlocked it, and just so we could plow and maintain it. But he says he's working on it.
What does that mean, he's working on it?
He's got lawyers involved, going through the paperwork. He has to do the closing. So, yeah, it's taken way too long.
Give it to the 1st of April.
So we'll give it to, that's up to you guys, 1st of April, lock it again.
That's only 2 weeks away, really.
Well, he's had
6 months.
5 or 6 months, yeah. So to wait till the last second, it's not fair to the town, so. So anyway, that's what we've been doing.
But the parcel, we're not getting our taxes on it either, because we still own it. Do we have anything in writing from him that he's gonna buy it, or?
Yes,
So we do have a contract on it.
yes. Yeah, I mean, it's all done except the actual closing, so.
Okay. I'm gonna throw in on unfinished business, what's going on foreman search? How was, just 'cause I've had
They
some
have till
questions
March
about it.
26th. I have 4 applications.
Yeah.
So after that, we'll
The
form a committee.
the 26th is when
Of
applications
March.
are.
Yep.
Okay.
Can we see at the next, would you have a copy of the contract that goes with, there's that person, he or she would be signing a contract, right?
You're talking for the foreman now?
Yeah,
Yep.
I'd like to see that, what that looks like. Thank you.
Anything else on our unfinished business at this time? With hearing none, we're going to new business. Item A, sign certificate of compliance for town roads and bridge standards.
That is gonna be tabled. I assumed we were going to meet with V-Trans right off the bat, because they have to verify it first, and they didn't. So they've postponed everything with the snow, and so that's gotta be tabled until probably the next meeting.
All right, just move it. If they don't show up at the next one, we'll just keep moving it up till they'll show up eventually also. That way we're covered anyway. Liquor license, Craig Allen, oh, no, sorry, Allen Brothers.
I have the Allen Brothers liquor license here, but the Harlow Last Stand brought it in just the other day. If you can't sign it, they don't open till May 1 tonight because it's not on the agenda. But I did bring it in case you decide to kind of say, yeah, okay, we'll sign it. But if you don't want to sign it because it's not on the agenda, I understand.
How does the board feel? How does the board feel?
This is a general license.
It's. I think they just sell hard cider and beer
Yeah,
And no wine.
and wine. Yeah.
I don't,
For
I
the-
don't have a
for the
problem with it.
year.
We don't
Yeah,
never
this is a
warn.
liquor
This is the
license
first
for
time I
the
see
year.
warn
Yeah.
Allen
Well,
Brothers on
that's
it.
it's usually liquor license.
Right, it's
Yeah.
just usually liquor license, so I don't.
So
have a
I
problem.
didn't want to not.
Normally, we don't both.
Excuse me. The first one, the top one is Harlow Farm. And approval, you're gonna sign here. The second one is Allen Brothers.
I'll move that we approve the liquor license for, where's the liquor license, the one on the right? Is that what it is, that one?
Yeah.
Yeah, the 9244.
So this is actually just, I'm gonna have to send this to the state with their checks. And then I actually have the actual license emailed to me
Where's
for
their-
them to put on the board.
Where's their name?
I'm sorry, I just did it back. This is Stacy. I just figured you'd see Stacy in one.
I'm not doing that one, I'm doing this one.
Okay, so this is Harlow's. So it's right here. Okay.
I'm still trying to find it. Last Stand is named it, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I approved the liquor license for 2018 for the Last Stand. Doing business as the Last Stand.
I second the motion.
Motion has been approved, moved and seconded to approve the liquor license for the Last Stand. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed?
Extension.
I think somebody else ought to do that one now.
Susan, note that Susan Carlo abstained. Which one's this one?
Allen Brothers.
Oh, so you got it. So,
They've already said my name, so I can't do that.
there you can move that one. Or somebody can.
I move we approve the liquor license renewal application of Allen Brothers for the year 2018.
Second that. Motion's been moved and seconded to approve the liquor license for Allen Brothers. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries.
We have to
Give me
sign
that-
this somewhere?
Yeah, give me that one, second page. Actually, that's that page. Is that page? Oh, flip it back over. Somebody's already signed it.
That's the people who are applying. Oh, no.
Right here.
Oh, approved.
Do we all have to sign them?
Yes.
Oh,
It has
maybe-
to be at least the majority of the board.
Maybe we didn't sign the other one in the right place.
You don't have to sign if you choose not to sign on the Harlow one. Craig doesn't usually sign on the Allen Brother one.
Oh, okay.
This is different than that one. It's another one.
Different format.
Where do you sign here? Oh, you already did there.
So I knew you weren't going to share those cookies. I told you that right from the very beginning. You weren't going to share those cookies. Well, you did share one.
Yeah.
Never mind.
Anybody else want one?
I like the hermit.
What?
I'll bring one next time.
You wanted to know if you wanted a cookie.
Cooking.
Yeah. It might be good for your bones.
My bones are perfectly fine. I didn't break a bone.
Oh, that'd be good. You just bruised your ego.
Huh?
Did you just bruise your ego?
I just, what do they call it?
Thank you very much.
Sprained my ankle.
That hurts. Annual LEOP adoption and signing.
Hasn't changed since last meeting. I gave you the draft. We still have time if you want to get Kevin up to snuff with it. What's attached to it is the mitigation plan, what you didn't have last time. That's already an approved document, but together it creates the LEOP plan.
What does LEOP stand for?
Local Emergency Operations Plan.
Thank you. No, he did that. I just wanted to say it in the meeting.
So it's up to you.
So let's, Kevin, want to go through that? Read it.
Please.
So I'll let you, we'll put it off first. Okay,
Thank you.
bring it up next meeting.
Okay.
Give me a test on it, Bill.
Test the light. Yearly appointments of record.
In red is what we aren't sure of. This is a work in progress. We have to contact each one of these people. Many of them we have, but some we haven't. So we weren't sure of the chair. It's set now.
So the red is the one we're not sure about. Norm Wright is.
Well, I'm going to go through them all, so
Okay.
we can go through them. So the clerk is now Susan. The Activities Commission, to the best of our knowledge, is Doreen Kelton, Dempsey Potter, Millie Berry, Nancy Dietz, and Amy Sadaka. I will contact each one of them to make sure we have done at least 3 of those. The cemetery sexton is Chris Potter, and I have confirmed with him. Commissioners, myself. Cemetery assistant commissioners is Chris Potter and Norm Wright. I have to call Norm and double check with him. Community improvement was Nathan Stoddard and Peter Stam. We have to contact both of them, but they both have in the past said they were interested. Conservation Commission, we're pretty sure that those 4 are active and willing to go again. We do have 1 vacant spot.
There's a gentleman that used to work for UPS that was in Westminster, in the West. He just retired.
Yeah.
Rich Talbot.
Rich Talbot. Give him a call, because he was,
For the Conservation Commission?
yep, he mentioned he had time on his hands.
Okay. Senior Solutions representatives, Priscilla Albee, Patricia Goodell. I'm not sure if we've contacted them. The Connecticut River Valley Conservation River Subcommittee, I'm gonna miss that word. Jim Calchera and Paul Harlow, I'm very confident both of them will, but I have not contacted him. I don't know if Kelly has or not. Development Review Board, Chris Potter is our chair, or was. Now we're going to be reorganizing. Tim Hardy, Don Anderson, Eric Anderson, and we lost a member just recently. That would have been Kevin. So I do need a select board alternate to the DRB.
Who was it before?
It was Toby.
You said you'll do it again?
Yeah. The alternate.
So we only have one position to fill there, correct?
We have one vacancy, yes.
Okay.
The Emergency Management Director is myself. Fence viewers, I do need to call Warren and Tony Coben. Fire Wardens, Cole Streeter, Assistant Fire Warden Mark and Patricia Haas. They were both very interested last year. I'm sure they'll take it, but I'm not positive. Friends of the West Town Hall, I just want to make sure that all of the 6 people are still active. Historic Review Board, I know Tony Diorio, Matt Sargent, and Peter Terrell are definitely all set. Inspector of Wood and Lumber, Tony Coben told me that he would fill any of the positions of
That don't
require a lot of work. Exactly. I wasn't going to say it that way, but yeah, that's the way it was. The official newspaper has worked out with the shopper. It's much, much cheaper. And when we have something critical, we do use the Bradbury Former. So I'd like to keep those the same. Planning Commission.
You know, it might not be a bad idea to, has there ever been something in the Westminster Gazette that is our now, because everybody gets the paper now.
We can't use that as the official paper.
No, I don't mean to use the Gazette as the paper.
Okay.
Did you think I was saying that?
That's what I thought you just said.
No, I think that it would be in one of your columns to say that the town should be aware that we've changed from the reformer to.
We're going to take this whole list and put it on the website like we always do once it's completed and signed.
Yeah.
But I can put it in the Gazette.
We put it in the Gazette last year, I think.
We probably did.
So,
But
you know,
we
I mean,
can
if
do
you
that.
just say that this is, you know, any things that need to be, you know, advertised will be advertised, since everybody gets it free.
Right, and people are originally looking the reformer and it's not there, and they're like, well, you didn't advertise it, well,
Yeah.
yeah, so I
Okay.
think it would be a short note.
Put it in the Gazette when it's completed.
Thank you, sir.
So at the Planning Commission, we are definitely short people. We only have Kathy Kingston and Doug Offdal left. We have, there should be a third vacancy there. 'Cause there's it's a 5-person board. And I need a select board alternate.
It was a 7-person.
I'll stay on that.
Wasn't it?
Okay, that's,
You're gonna be the select board, going to be
The alternate.
yeah, okay, good.
I'm I'm one of the vacancies from there.
Uh-huh. I was gonna suggest you anyway.
Road Commissioner is
So we
with
have, so we have 2 vacancies or 3 vacancies?
3.
3 vacancies.
You know who might be willing to do something like that would be Barry Shamus.
How many are on that? 1, 2, 3, 4?
You made it from a 7-person
We
board
made it
to a 5.
so we
Right.
got
last
1,
year.
2, 3, 4.
Now we can't even fill 5, so. I will
So we're
give that
missing
person a
3 and
call.
the select
Okay,
board is
good.
not.
It's just not there, okay.
All
Is
right.
that a monthly meeting? Planning
Yes,
commission?
once a month.
Okay, sorry, you can move on now.
Road commissioners, myself, the road foreman and assistant road foreman are left blank on purpose, since we haven't got one yet.
I thought Mr. Lawrence was our assistant road foreman.
We had to change that today,
I see.
so. Town council, primary is Larry Slason, and our second, town council is Robert Fisher. Health officer, service officer are both myself. Tree warden, Mark Lund. Westminster West Library representative, Craig Hawkins. I am going to have to call him to make sure that's still okay. You just heard from Stephen Dodson, who wanted to be on the Wyndham Regional Commission again this year. Bobby Kilburn has written a letter to you, and I got no other responses, so I would assume you'll say yes to that. Wyndham Solid Waste representative is Jan Amin, and I'll just have to call her also. And then the zoning and sign control administrator is myself. So, is there any discussion on anything that I have in there that you think that we should redo or add to?
You said, Millie, you're on the Activities Commission?
Yes.
Even though your name isn't there, so if we vote on this, it will include her.
Yes.
I'm so
It's
stoked.
on the which
It
commission?
is spelled wrong, I'm sorry.
Activities.
I'll get it.
That's all right. It's only been, 40 years.
I didn't do it.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you want a motion on that?
You can't
Or
approve
you
it
just want to
because
leave it
it's...
loosely at this point?
Exactly.
Okay.
I just want to make sure that the board is all in favor of what I've done so far, and
So we're actively, and you need to get that in the Gazette, that we're actively looking for, so we're
Yes.
missing 2 members on the Development Review Board, which is very, right, 2 or 1?
one,
And 3 on the Planning Commission.
that's correct.
And those are
Those are
both
the big ones.
boards that we need to get filled.
Yeah.
It's a good thing that
Nancy.
And at this time, Nancy has graciously offered to join the Campbell
Planning
Fund.
Review Board or the Development Board?
The Campbell Fund.
That's not, neither of the ones that I was asking you about.
Well, we need persons on that also. We only have one left in the book. Yeah, if I could find it. Sorry. Isla Mitchell is not interested in running again, and so Karen Walter is running the fund by herself. So Nancy has
Is that a
graciously,
Is that a 3-person, 2-person?
it's a 3-person, it's a 1 year. Every year they just run.
Yeah.
So that needs a vote.
I move we appoint Nancy Dozell to the, as a representative of the Campbell Fund, and a trustee of the Campbell
Trustee
Fund?
again.
She's a trustee,
My second that.
or commissioner, excuse me, a commissioner.
Commissioner of the trustee.
Second.
You said-
Motion's been moved and seconded to accept Nancy's kind volunteerism to the trustee of Campbell Fund. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. Now, back to the Development Board. You know you need something to do.
Not yet.
This is only like 1 meeting a month. You can do it. All right. Personnel matter, executive session.
You need a motion and
I
second.
move that we go into executive session.
Do we need it? It's just a lot of question marks after it.
That's up
Is
to you
it
guys.
being requested?
It's to talk about a contract and
Oh, okay.
Okay. So do I have a motion on the floor?
Susan?
Yeah, I move that we go into
Susan moved.
executive session for purposes of a personnel matter.
I'll second it.
Motion's been moved and seconded to go into executive session for a personnel matter. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? We will do that after other business.
And excuse me, I'll need to be, is it okay if I'm in on the executive session as well about my salary? Because I'll be doing payroll and I have no idea.
Okay. Which, should we include her?
Yeah.
I just wanted to make sure that
Yeah.
was, and
I guess I don't even know
Yeah.
that.
could it,
Okay.
Something.
Could I go in with you?
It's, sure. I mean, why
Because
not?
I don't know what,
We should,
That
we're
is
gonna meet first and then invite somebody in, or what, I don't know, how are we doing that, I don't know.
I think if you're talking about elected officials, they have to be present by statute. I believe that to be true.
I think we're all a little hazy what we're actually discussing, so that was all.
Right.
Since
We don't know what the subject is,
Right.
except that it has to do with personnel.
And we kind of wanted to, our plan was to actually have, I thought we were just gonna have it on the open agenda actually to talk with, to find out what your expectations were and to find out what our expectations were and
Oh, so this is about that road foreman or something, what you're going into executive session for?
I personally would
no, I
rather
don't-
keep it private, to be honest with you.
Okay.
If I can, rather than, yeah.
And that's what we'll do.
Okay, thank you.
May I join as well?
It's up to her, it's her executive session at this point.
Oh, it's only mine? Of course.
I thought you just said you're not going in executive session.
No, I didn't say that.
Oh.
I just, I said originally that we were gonna have it on, just open discussion on the new business and we were gonna have her come in and we were gonna talk about, that's what we did at the last
She
meeting.
preferred it be in
well,
executive
that,
session.
that doesn't mean that we should have it in executive session, so I think we should check to see
Yeah, I mean,
whether it's
whether
it's proper to have it in executive session or not.
Is it executive
Because-
session for that? But
Well,
is there
it wouldn't be
executive-
specifically for her, though, it would be about the
Position.
position. And if it's about the position, then it shouldn't be an executive session. But if it's about,
It's about the pay, it could be.
Yes, and I mean, when I was appointed in as lister, we didn't talk about my pay, in the open meeting at that point. So that was done.
You can
Separately.
discuss it, but if you come to a
Then
resolution, you come out and it's in the minutes.
no, any decision they
But
make.
Yeah.
but we had
she's
already,
uncomfortable.
No, I understand that. I just think we have to know what
Right.
the...
I guess the
Town.
first
Whatever
is-
is the correct,
Yeah, I'm just
whatever's
trying
the
to,
correct way
I think if it's a
is-
discussion of the position, then it shouldn't be an executive session, but if it's about person in the position and
Which,
It's a
she's
personnel
already there.
matter that we not necessarily, and we don't have to, we may not talk about pay, that may not even come into that tonight, but it is a personnel matter.
yeah, but
that doesn't mean that anything
Yeah.
that's a personnel matter goes into executive session.
that's right.
if you're discussing hours or something, that's
We
fine.
should have, look, we
Where's the
should,
handbook?
yeah, where's the handbook?
Well,
It's a poster, but I can get it.
we can
Yeah.
we
Why
can
don't-
discuss
why
an
don't you
open
get
meeting
it?
of how many hours you have, but the
Let's
minute you
get
come in, she says how much you get paid, and she has a right to have that in executive
We're
session.
gonna
Right, so-
look at whether it's okay to do it.
I guess my only
If it
question
is,
was,
we'll
is that the
do it.
only reason why we were going in, or I thought we were going in for something to do with
I
their...
have no idea why we're going to executive
Right,
session.
that's my
Yeah.
question, are we going to something to do with the...
Yeah, I mean, I assumed that because, again, I started as treasurer already, started with my hours, and then I'll be doing payroll, and nothing has been decided on my hours. We're not sure of my hours, so we have to, and we really won't be until I actually...
Figure out how many hours it's gonna take you to do
how
what you
many-
gotta do.
Right, and it's
Right,
how
but
much the assistant
it-
treasurer is gonna do. But in the
It's,
meantime, I do wanna talk about pay, because I'll need to put something down for those hours that I'm working.
yeah.
Right.
And also the budget line as well, because depending on, again, I'm gonna have to estimate on my hours, because I have no clue.
Right.
Until I'm getting trained this week, so that's good, I'll have some idea, but then there's gonna be weeks that are busier, so it's gonna be kind of an estimate.
Yeah, but see, the reason mostly the reason for going into executive session is when early public notice, information on it will be harmful to the decision. And I'm not sure that this falls into that category. I mean, I'm not saying it correctly, but,
Right.
but like when there are contracts, when you have a contract that and if you have somebody find out the amount of the contract, then it might, damage the negotiations on the contract. But I don't know,
I know it's unusual because it hasn't been a separate position in so long. And again, I'm new to this as treasurer.
And we appreciate your doing it.
Thank you. And so, yes, it does need to be addressed. And I guess my question is then, how does it get addressed and when and where?
Yeah.
Will we get together a different day? Or I'm just saying it needs to be
fine.
done in the next 2 weeks. So.
Yeah, so I guess the closest it comes, the requirements, only considered in executive session, the appointment or employment or evaluation of a public officer or employee. Does that fall into executive session?
Look at your contractual statement.
Right.
That gives you a little bit of leeway to talk money.
I would say,
Well, we didn't
even though
appoint
she's
her,
elected, she still has to have a
Right.
contract. If you're gonna discuss a contract, you have a right to go to executive session to discuss the contract.
Contracts, labor relations, agreements with employees, arbitration, mediation, grievances, civil actions, or prosecutions by the state. Oh, it's gone away. Labor relations agreements with employees, but that's not. The appointment or employment or the public.
That's one I would think would come under that.
Okay, are we settled?
Still, but. Okay.
What's the worst that
Okay.
can happen?
Okay,
Famous last words.
Okay. I think
we're
we
all
can
right.
do it.
Okay.
We can do it.
As long as you say so, Sheldon.
We'll just
I'll
have
take
to
the
put it
blame
in
for it.
minutes.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
I don't have a problem.
Well, if we
And,
make a decision.
and as a board, we have 2 people that have been invited or asked. Are you good with that?
Yes.
You tell me what you want to do.
I'm fine with that. Yes.
All right, so we have 2 guests, as
And
well as,
I just want to throw out there that you were fine with me about a month ago when I requested an executive session.
Yes, but that,
that was.
This one's really weird. Is the select board requesting it, or is she requesting it? And I guess I'm leaving to the fact that she's requesting it, so then she has a right to invite whoever she wants. Because we don't know what she wants until we get in there and discuss
well,
it.
I think.
Town manager, who requested it?
You asked me to put this on there, and
Okay,
this,
Okay.
I requested
We'll
it
do
then.
it. That's all.
So
Manager.
Okay, moving right along.
So we got that personnel matter done. Do we have another personnel matter that we have to discuss under?
not this time.
All right, manager's report.
As we said prior to the meeting, Westminster Meets public sale was postponed till March 22nd at 11 o'clock. Again, I will plan on going to represent the town. Spring Select Board Workshop, they're still asking and there's still openings. Kevin, if you're interested in the Select Board Workshop, I have the information.
Please.
And I can get it to you.
Thank you.
The back door construction is finished.
It's done?
You should go look
Finished.
at it.
I'm meeting tomorrow to do a punch list.
Well, I went up to it the other day.
But I do have a question, what to do with the old window.
What's a punch list?
I'm sorry?
What is a punch list?
Punch list is a finished product to see if there's anything that I need to have changed or fixed or,
And if it isn't
Et
done,
cetera.
you punch in the contract.
so I need from the board what to do with the old window.
What is
I would put it up with our brand new doors at the moment.
Leave it here.
I would say I would
Your
not.
options are here or bring it to the town shop and the
I
guys
think
can put it upstairs where it's safe, so it won't get broken.
Either way, I mean, we're not gonna probably use it again, but
Probably not.
we don't,
but
historically, we don't wanna be getting rid of it either.
there's some pieces in it that could fix other windows, such as the cable
You don't wanna
system.
bury it, that's for sure.
Well, that's what I was thinking about, putting it where the doors are now, with, you know,
Someplace safe.
yeah, somewhere safe.
Okay, so we'll leave it here. The other night, I attended a emergency management active shooter class at the fire department.
What does that
Um,
mean? What is an active shooter class?
How you treat somebody that comes in with a
How we're
gun.
going to respond to an active shooter incident in our town or in our neighborhoods. The fire department is trying to certify 2 individuals. When there's this incident, the police will be the first team in to try to take out the harm. The second form of tactical team that goes in has 2 medics. We have 2 very trained medics that are interested in going to that next step, which is guarded by officers, but they go in to take care of any casualties in not the hot area, but the warm area. The hot area is where they think this person is. A warm area is that they're really sure they're not there, but is still questionable. So they need tactical vests and they need helmets. We do have a fund. It's the Emergency Management Fund. I have not, I'm not asking tonight for an answer, but I think that this is exactly what this fund is for. For each individual, it's going to cost $550 to suit them with the vest and the helmet, and the fire department would take care of one. And I'm going to come back to you when I get things a little bit more firm to ask that we can take $550 out of this fund that has $19,081 in it. I think this is a very incredibly important task to do, and I think this will help the community substantially.
And hopefully,
So the nearest team, just so
nobody
you know,
will
is
ever have to wear them.
the nearest team is
Sad,
Springfield.
don't even have to think about it.
So if you start putting the math together, the first shot is fired at 9 o'clock. We're not going to get help, medical aid into that building until they get here a good 25 to 35 minutes later. They have 4 trained officers. We would have just the 2.
Springfield.
Springfield. And they did it because the nearest one from them was Lebanon. So
Is that a THERA construct under FEMA, or is that just our local THERA construct?
it's not FEMA. It is from the emergency management teams of the state of Vermont.
Of the state?
Yes, and they're recommending that more towns do it. Brattleboro is looking at it because, again, they have nothing. They
We
have to
have-
pull something from Massachusetts.
That's excellent, by the way.
So-
Very good. Do we have a THERA process for ourselves?
What's that word?
THERA is an anachronism for this. Threat identification hazard. Oh man, I know what it is.
We have a tactical
Okay.
Yeah.
force.
Sorry, I
and
normally have
It's
that.
all right.
so yes, we have the plan, but we don't have the personnel to fill it. And to fill it, we need the next training.
Very good.
So Cole Streeter and
Cool.
John.
And with that, I'm
Parker are
sorry
going
not to take it to. Now, do we have something for the school? Is there something separate apart for a threat assessment for?
No, that's the
considering what
same one.
happened?
That's
It would
the
be the
exact same one.
Same entity that would respond.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
Thank you, Russell.
Yeah. Like I said, it's the first slide that they showed us. It says it's not if, it's when. It's coming,
Right.
and it might not be right here in Westminster, but it could be at the high school. We've had incidences with adults going into the building, not armed, thank God, but very aggravated. What's the next step? So anyway, long story short, they're working hard to make sure that we're prepared for that next step.
It is called the Threat and Hazard Identification and Risk Assessment Process.
We have a plan, but we can't totally fulfill it until we have this part of it. And so
One last
I
question.
will be officially asking you on the agenda for monies.
One quick question, that's really excellent. Is most excellent. Does the state provide any type of funding?
Training, yes,
They do
absolutely,
training.
yes. It is such a demand right now
Right.
that our governor has set aside some tactical forces that have come down to us and actually give us training. We're lucky in Westminster, we also have the National Guard.
And we have
That was it.
police.
That was asked, and we have the police, but they're not always there and such, so it's a work in progress. Tomorrow I'm meeting with the school, the Wyndham Supervisory Union, to talk about transportation of students out of an area and how to best utilize Vermont Academy, Kern Hatton, and our bus system to get kids out of harm's way. So
One last question. Would
Sure.
two, do you think, I'm thinking about it just because it is important. 2, you think is enough, or maybe we should have 3?
we were talking 2 to start, and then we have another 2 or 3 people that will take another year or 2 to get trained. This can be done from at their level. They can do this in a weekend, and they're talking about getting it done immediately. And so
It's good to know.
probably the next meeting I will be asking you.
Glad you're on top of it.
The last one is in your packet. I wanted to make sure that you don't forget, Wyndham Solid Waste Management District wants to present their version of our assessment. Bob Spencer and Kristen Benoit will come and speak to you. I also inserted the letter that he wrote that kind of led to all this, that Michael Batcher informed us that Joe Ruggiero was talking to him about the hazardous waste collections. So it kind of got the ball rolling, they got involved, and so I think it's, at this point in time, it would be a great opportunity to listen to how are they defending their $37,000 assessment.
At what time does that, you said we couldn't do anything when I last talked to you about, because we already have a contract with them. At what time does that contract end and we can start saying, no, we're not really interested in paying $37,000 for what you do for
It
us?
starts the start of the fiscal year. So if we said, no, we don't want to do this, the state has asked us to go one more year to see what the assessment's going to be with the solar panels. And that's why I think it's very critical to hear what Bob and Kristen are going to say about that. If the solar panels are paying $102,000 back to the district, then our assessments have got to go down. They have to. So how much are they going to go down? Are they going to reevaluate the services that we're using versus another town, such as a transfer station town? They've got to do something, and they're losing towns. More towns are doing the research to see, why and how, creating their own district. Transfer stations, I can tell you, are finding that they can't do it themselves. They just can't afford to do all of the paperwork and the mandates by themselves. We're not a transfer station. We're a curbside pickup, so we're a different animal than what they're used to assessing. So I think I'm recommending highly that we set up an appointment with them and have them come to a meeting.
I'm having a really hard problem wondering where Jan Amin is, who is our representative to this board, why she's not more involved in this, I guess, at
She's
this point.
very involved in it.
She is at
She's
that
not
level.
here at this
but-
meeting,
Well, she's not, but she is.
and
This
she is our
her.
board she is our town representative to this board.
Yes.
But to be fair, we haven't asked her to come to the meeting either. So when we do this and we ask that Wyndham Solid Waste comes to talk to you, absolutely, Jan should be notified and say, please, attend, so she can add her knowledge to the conversation. So, but as of for tonight, no, I just barely got this stuff, and I remembered, I should have given you the heads up that we should try to get this set up, because it's a very important step in the process if we're going to do it by July 1st.
Do you know if the state did anything about the requirement that haulers take organic waste? Is that still on?
It's still in the legislative discussions about when they're going to implement that. No changes have been made. It's still 2020 for residents. But Ruggiero has already offered that program to anybody that contacts them. Nobody has.
But he's hoping nobody will, right?
Nobody has.
So if, as a resident, someone could contact them and they'd pick up their garbage?
They're
Their waste?
Their compost.
Their compost,
Yes.
that's what I meant, yeah. They will? Really?
Absolutely.
And who pays for that?
They do. It's a separate contract from
So a
landowner to
Okay.
Ruggiero.
That's
And
not
he'll supply the pails with the snap covers so that they aren't disgusting. And what his plan was to give you a clean pail and take your old one.
Yeah.
And that's the process. But nobody has actually done it yet.
But you have to pay for it.
I would be willing to in the winter.
I would say set up something relatively soon, either at the next meeting or within the next couple of meetings.
The last one is I got onto the Village of Bellows Falls' agenda to speak for the Fire District Number 5 and their sewer assessment and billing process. It's antiquated, it's not up to date by any means of what is actually out in North Westminster, so we need to talk to them, get them started on the process of relooking at why we're paying so much versus residents of Bellows Falls. So I will be on the 27th of March. I'll be going to that meeting.
Why the rates are higher, you mean?
Our rates are
Or
higher.
the fire protection is higher, or what are you talking about?
Sewer. Only the sewer rates.
I'm somewhat interested.
Go to the meeting.
Okay, town managers report any boards and commissions?
There's nothing new to date.
We kind of talked about that under the other business at this point, at this time.
Russ, since you're appointing me, I don't know if this is the proper place for it, but these are some other vacancies that need to be filled. I've given Kelly this list right after elections.
Okay.
And I'm on the commission, is it trustee of public funds and trustee of Campbell Fund? On the two of on the bottom, I think, I'm not sure, but I think if you contacted Mike Fawcett, he probably would stay on. The only reason he didn't get his petition in on time was because he had I don't know if he fell and did something to his leg or something, but he never got the petition in, but he's been on it for quite a while.
On both of them?
Yeah. The trust, the public funds and the Campbell Fund.
We only have one opening?
Yes, it's a 3-year term.
So the only thing that we have left on this list, if Mike takes those, is the Commissioner of Campbell Fund,
and
one more.
town grand jury.
And one town, okay. I'll have those on the list.
Yeah.
Hey Russ, the other thing that was at the meeting, I talked to Cole Streeter. He would like to have a meeting with us as a board and you sometime and discuss, obviously there might be an issue coming up, or there was an issue with using town highway guys on the volunteer fire department, and he wants to work it out, that there's an understanding or something on who can go, when they can go, and when they can be.
Our policy hasn't changed, and I told you that this at the last meeting.
Right.
Our policy hasn't changed. when there's a fire, our gentlemen are willing and ready to go. The road crew in itself, if they need sand or plowing or dirt, whatever, we're obviously gonna drop what we're doing and service their needs. This came up from one individual creating problems. I have this all squared away. I don't think he needs to come and talk about this again. But if you want him to come, I will make.
He said he'd like to come.
All right.
Once you get a hold of him and see if he's
Who
happy.
is this person?
If he's happy, then you don't have to, but he did approach me.
Who?
Yeah,
This was recently?
yep,
Okay.
yeah, he just spoke. And then what, he knows that problem is gone, but he just wants to make sure that there's a good understanding in what we're doing. And could there be, he's got some other ideas he'd like to run by.
Okay.
Any other business at this time? The date of the next meeting is March 28th, 2018. We'll be going into executive session.